Thank you, everyone. Welcome to our 4th International Women's Day. Nasi Zvare, but smile. And tomorrow is smarter than Sunday. Oh, yeah. So it's double blessings for everyone. I just want to say a big welcome, and I want also to say thank you guys for turning up for this event. I know there's loads of things going on today, but you've left everything and you've decided to come and join us. We are part of the Mind Networks. Our organization is there to promote social inclusion, that is, to have women come together and network, and also it's a platform for women to come and share their stories, their lived experiences. We believe that by sharing stories, people get to understand each other better, and also after sharing your stories is something that's therapeutic for you as well, that you actually feel better, and if it was a challenge, you feel like you've conquered your giant. Like, you know, you have something there and you've conquered it, you have shared it, it's out there. You also find other people as well who are going through the same challenge, who you can group up with, give each other tips and that sort of thing. So that's why we are very, very passionate about storytelling. For us, we also want to shift how people perceive issues. So we tackle different social issues, such things like domestic abuse, such things like homelessness, and that sort of thing. The experiences of black women vis-a-vis domestic abuse are different from the experiences of white people. So some of the things that happen in our community is as a result of where we come from as a community. So that's the reason why we have gathered you together here so that we talk about ourselves. Because for us, domestic abuse is not between just your husband and the partners. No. It's also cultural, it includes the whole family, the whole extended family. So for you, if you go to your mom and you say, "Mom, I wanna leave my husband," your mom might say, "Oh, you're gonna embarrass me, my daughter, if you do that." Can you imagine what's gonna happen in church? Everyone is gonna be talking about you and saying you've left your marriage. So mom feels like it's a failure on your part. So that's why domestic abuse, we want to approach it in a holistic manner. Like we include the family as well, not just between counseling between partners, but also a community, as a community. And also we have our pastors, because we know that we are a spiritual community. We have our pastors as well, who also at times they quote certain Bible verses and say God hates divorce. And we are finding that at times women stay in abusive relationships, in abusive situations, because they want to please everyone else, they want to please the church, they want to please the pastors, and they are not making decisions that are good for them, but they are making decisions as a result of the cultural influence that's there. The other thing that I'm also very passionate about is the stigma around single women. As a community, we need to change how we view single women. I think the past week or 2 weeks, I've seen 2 posts about single women. Very respected people in the community coming and saying certain things and posting certain things like if a child comes from a single mother family, they cannot preach in the church. They cannot. What nonsense! What nonsense! You know, it's that stigma that's keeping people in abusive relationships because they want this perfect picture that everyone wants. But we want people to be happy. We want people to have families and communities where children thrive. Children don't thrive when they are in abusive situations. They thrive when they have happy mothers, happy dads, and that sort of thing. So this stigma has to go. We have to respect and value single women and not say all those things that we say about single women, which makes other women want to stay in abusive relationships because they want to paint a picture of perfection, which is all wrong. So today, by way of introduction, that's what I'm introducing. Our topic today is Voice of Change, breaking the cycle. So we want, like I said, we want to change. We want to change this stigma thing. We want to change the abusive chain that is known as a culture in our community. We want to break that cycle. We want to start happy families, healthy, happy families. That is the name of our project, by the way. Also, lastly, we want to say thank you to National Lottery, because they are the funders, they are our funders, they are the ones who enable us to actually bring people together, hold these events, and do all that we do. So I want to thank National Lottery Community Fund for funding us, and also we want to thank the National Lottery, the lottery players, who are actually the ones who play. Who are actually the ones who enable the funds to be there anyway. So without further ado, I'm not going to take too much of your time, guys. We are having our first speaker, who is Beulah Chizimba. She's going to be talking about accessing the health and also the role of women in the society. Welcome, my sister.
Thank you.
Welcome.
No, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I don't know if I can hear me in the back. Yes, perfect. Thank you. I think you've given me a really great introduction, but I will just say again, my name is Beulah Chizimba, and I am here today speaking to you about accessing health and wellbeing services and the role of self-leadership and self-advocacy in the communities like ours that may have been impacted by domestic abuse. I wanted to talk to us today, both as professionals as well as survivors, and if there are any victims still going through this, I think I've got a few pointers for you as well. So I hope that today I will give you something to take away to think about. One of the things that I like to do as a professional, and I'll talk to you a little bit about the professional background, and I'll also talk to you a little bit about who I am as a woman in our community and our society. So as a professional, I am a nurse by background. I am still a nurse, I practice as a nurse. I work strategically in the NHS and the ICBs. I've worked in the ICBs for the last 10 years, and I also run my own business, which is a health and care leadership academy, which is a safeguarding training and safeguarding training, quality assurance, and quality improvement consultancy. And this is where I do the work around safeguarding women, safeguarding children, as well as generally adults and the communities that are impacted by safeguarding issues. And as we know, that domestic abuse is one of those strands in safeguarding that brings us all together, because one of the things about safeguarding, about domestic abuse, is that it doesn't choose who you are. So you can be anybody. You can be somebody working in a high office in an organization, or you could be a cleaner in an organization. It doesn't choose, and you could be a woman as well as being a man. So our organization does a lot of training within corporate organizations as well as communities. And I just want to thank the hosts today for inviting me. I love having an opportunity to speak in my own community because I think that is where we are supported. I've felt supported by our community in all the things that I do in terms of wanting to build each other up and to build me as a woman living in my own community in the diaspora. So thank you so much. So I want to begin with raising awareness of some key statistics that have just come out in January this year. And these come from the Domestic Abuse Report 2023 from Women's Aid. And I think a lot of us are quite familiar. If you are, listening or hearing or reading about the work of domestic abuse in England, Women's Aid is a company that has been working, I think, for over 50 years and supporting. And I think that organizations like Power, the Mind Networks, are part of those organizations that are doing a lot of work in communities to support women, children, and families to live a life that is free from abuse. According to this report, the length of time abuse has been experienced by both men and women ranges from 0 to 66 years old, to 66 years. Those are staggering statistics. And if you want to look at the average, they're talking about the average of abuse being 6 years and 1 month. So by the time a woman or a man leaves a relationship, it is at least 6 to 7 years. And that's a long time. And I think it takes a toll on people's emotional health and well-being. And that is why I want to specifically talk about how do we access services for health and well-being, whether we're survivors, whether we're victims, as well as professionals, because a lot of the people that are sitting here today, if you're like me, you came to the UK to work. You're pursuing a career, you're pursuing a passion. And therefore, as a professional, there's some awareness that you need to have. Because we're starting to use services. We're serving one another in our professional roles. And so what do I need to do as a professional when I come across a woman who looks like me? How do I respond? So I'm hoping that today I've got something for everyone. Another statistics that was quite interesting was that 12%, which is about 4,611 women, were not British nationals. So that puts you and me in those statistics. And 30% of these 4,611 women had no recourse to public funds. I want you to just think about that. The issue of no recourse to public funds provides women and men a vulnerability that no one is thinking a lot about. But it is staggering that they were mentioned in this report. And 4,611 victims being from black and minority ethnic background is staggering for me. So I just wanted to make sure that we were all aware that 30% of these women had no recourse to public funds. And if you want to look a little bit more into the report, and I'm encouraging you today to look for that report online and read it. It makes for sobering reading. It goes on to talk about 56% of these survivors having a disability. After these 6 years, you don't walk away without physical or mental health disability. The stunning thing is that 56% of victims or survivors are saying that they have mental health issues. And 22.3% have a physical disability. I really want these statistics to sink in, because if we're not then accessing appropriate health services to deal with these disabilities or these health and well-being issues that are a result of staying in these relationships that our host was talking about in relation to, I don't want to be a single woman, there's a stigma. But these are the consequences of staying in the relationships that are harming you and relationships that are cutting your life short. So why self-leadership and self-advocacy? It's crucial to support access to services. One of the things that I realized being a professional working in the National Health Service is that there is still stigma in accessing services for Black and minority ethnic people. For whatever reason, the statistics of us actually accessing services that may be put on for us is still very, very low. And another element about that stigma is we don't want our neighbors to know, or we don't want the people at church to know that I'm accessing that particular service. I want you to think a little bit about that. And if that is you, I need you to talk to somebody about how you're feeling, about why you feel the way that you feel. Because a conversation at a pivotal point with somebody who is going through something and not seeking the help and support that they need sometimes moves that person forward. And when you meet somebody, I talk about opportunistic relationships with people. And when we are in our community at church, start having those opportunistic relationships or conversations with people that drive them forward. I will talk to you a little bit about what self-advocacy is. Let's define it. I'll start off with self-leadership actually, just to put it into context to what I'm actually talking about. So they talk about self-leadership being the ability to take control of one's own life and making decisions that are aligned with one's values, one's goals and aspirations. And I know that everyone in this room, we did not leave our homes in Africa, over 10,000 miles away, without any goals, without any values and aspirations. The very reason for being here is because of these values and goals and aspirations that we have. So when we're talking about self-leadership, we're talking about the ability to control all that. It involves taking responsibility for your own health and well-being, including seeking out and accessing appropriate health services. When I begin to talk about self-leadership in domestic abuse settings, people say to me, is that the right time to talk about it? And I say, yes, it is. Because when you are in a domestic abuse situation, you lose your ability to self-lead. Because of the power and coercion and control, you lose it. And therefore, that is one of the things that we need if you are a professional and you are coming across patients or you're serving in a community advocacy role. The people that you're meeting, the individuals you're meeting with, they no longer have self-leadership capacity. So you need to begin to support them to build those skills up. They are skills, and any skill can be learnt. Therefore, we shouldn't leave it to chance. We need to begin to say to people, how are you doing in this area? What can I do? What can I provide for you to start building those self-leadership skills up again? Self-advocacy, on the other hand, is the ability to speak up for yourself. You lose this when you are in a domestic abuse situation. You advocate for your own needs and your rights, and particularly in these situations where you feel vulnerable and you feel marginalized. People lose the knowledge that they have rights. No matter what relationship you're in, you have the right to be loved well, you have the right to live a life free of harm and abuse. You have a right to seek health services, and you have a right to have those health needs met. These are rights that you forget when you are in that kind of situation. So the idea is, if we are in church, if we are in your community setting, working with Power of the Mind networks, they put brilliant events. And the reason why I wanted to come to speak today is I have been following the work that they do. They're doing amazing work. They're doing groundbreaking work and speaking up They are advocating for women and for men who are living lives that may be bordering on domestic abuse. People don't sometimes know that this is what is happening to them. They don't have a name for it until they talk to somebody and start hearing that, no, this isn't right, or that is right, or, you know, if you feel something is not right, it isn't right. So, from the point of building those skills that we're talking about, I wanted to speak to professionals first. So all of you here, I know that you're in contact. You may be a healthcare worker, you may be somebody, you may be a nurse, you may be a business owner. We have so much opportunity in England. We are professionals who are advancing. We're doing so many things. So no matter where you are in your professional journey, I have some strategies that I would want you to take away today. I teach this on a full day course, but I wanted to just bring a glimpse of what it could look like in our day-to-day work, in our day-to-day work as community advocates, as nurses, as business owners of healthcare organizations, or any other role that you may have. There's specifically 4 I wanted to just highlight, but I'm going to speak specifically on just the one. Thank you, I'm already being told about my time. But one is listening actively and empathetically. Sometimes professionals think that they listen and that they're empathetic. I want you to think closely about, are you an active listener? What does that actually mean? Are you empathetic? Is your body language empathetic? What are you saying to people? I need you to make sure that you are listening to yourself. You are employing those active listening skills. Providing education and resources. You need to know what is out there for emotional health and well-being in your system. I don't live in this system. I work in Essex, I live in Essex, and I also work in Bristol. So I am more well versed with those communities, but you have to take time yourselves to know what is out there for my patients, for the people that I host here. Being very clear about what is available. So for example, people who are going through domestic abuse will have emotional health issues, and sometimes counseling is not enough. So where do you refer them to? There are services in NHS, health and well-being, that will see people who need a little bit more. So know them, know those services, get a map of what those services are, and advocate for the people you're working with. Foster self-awareness and self-reflection. With self-awareness is the crux of self-leadership, or any kind of leadership. So if you are beginning to self-lead, sit with yourself and really ask questions that are pertinent, that bring you to understanding yourself, understanding who you are, and understanding what you want and what you need. And that's where you begin to realize, what are my rights? What am I entitled to? Is this the relationship that I want to be in? Take your time. And when you begin to talk to people about your relationships, or you're now out of an abusive relationship, you want to start to build yourself up again. Start to think about your self-awareness, think about what is it do I want going forward. And when you begin to raise your self-awareness, you begin to raise your self-advocacy and self-leadership skills, you're highly likely not to get into another abusive relationship, because you're very clear about what you want. You're very clear about the kind of love that you want and how that person should love you. And if you are now starting to think, I need to have access to mental health support, I need someone to support me through the system, you can go to your GP, you can talk to your GP and tell them that this is where I am. This is what I need, and can you help me to navigate the system and get me the support and the help that you need? All these skills I'm talking about, they are hard to master. They are hard to begin to put into action, especially if you've been in a domestic abuse situation for more than 6, 5, 7 years. But it will take time. but give yourself a chance. And what I want to leave with you today is I want to leave you with a quote by Maya Angelou, where she says that the things that happen to us do not define us. But what they do is that they give us a springboard to move forward and to know what we want going forward. So I'm hoping that I've given you just 4 strategies. Begin to listen to other people and listen to yourself if you are the person. Put yourself in a little corner and listen to your thoughts, listen to what you need, resurrect some of those dreams that you had before. Think about how you're feeling. Is my body aching? What's going on with me? How am I feeling mentally? Do you have negative self-talk? Begin to think about those things. Write them down so that when you go to your GP, GPs are trusted professionals in the system. Begin to talk to them about what you're thinking, you're needing going forward, and advocate for yourself. Let your voice be heard. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, my sister. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, that was a very powerful speech, that one. I just want to add one thing about the no recourse to public funds, which is the one thing that impacts or that affects us as immigrants. Yesterday, people who are local, you saw that I posted about someone who needs help because we've got no recourse to public funds and they are being threatened or being evicted and that sort of thing. So it's one area we are fighting. We're going to council meetings and the council and the service providers are saying, oh, we provide for illegal immigrants and that sort of thing. But the next thing, when I lift my phone and I call them, they are going, oh, actually, we only have 2 places for people with no recourse to public funds. Or, oh, actually, we've run out of our money. But when you sit there in council meetings, they are saying, we now provide for people with no recourse to public funds. So it's a fight that we need to continue fighting as a community. But our next speaker is my sister, Sehile. Did I pronounce it right? So yeah.
I need to speak to people, not their bodies. I'm not looking at any dead bodies today. So, that's what I mean. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
That's what I did. Right. Okay. Thank you, Mamoya, for inviting me all the way from Leicestershire. Hello, guys.
Leicestershire.
Leicester. Okay. My name is Sehile. Sehile, you say it with some sexiness in you. Sassiness, yeah. Right. Enough of that. Today is Saturday, right?
Yes.
And today is the 18th, right? Right?
Yes.
And today we are going to have fun.
Yes.
And today you are going to learn something from me. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Good. Guys, there is power in engagement. There is power in being present. There is power in participation. So we Sehile, I'm Sehile Gumbo Wilkinson, Mrs. Wilkinson. Sehile Gumbo is my maiden name. I'm a peak performance coach. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
What's that? Yes. As a peak performance coach, what it means is I help. My niche really is helping new entrepreneurs to navigate this new business world. You know, most people dream of being business owners, don't you? Most of you have tried businesses. If I ask, you hear someone, oh, I tried selling eggs, I tried doing that, I tried forever, I tried crypto, I tried so many things. And most of us, we do fail. Some of us, we have gone on. I know of people who have invested back home. You have gone into trucking. There was an era of trucks. There was an era of, now we are in the era of farming, is it? Have you got your farm already? Have you talked to your Sambu guys? Do you have your land, your ancestral land? You know, these are the things that happens. But, you know, just like fashion, they come and go, and you are left broke. And that's why you need a safety net in your life. Yes. Touch your heart and say you need a safety net in your life. Right. So, I like it because we're getting really more energetic. So what does it mean when you are having a coach? A coach is someone who is going to hold you accountable, help you navigate, help you gain confidence, help you start having self-belief, manage doubts, manage all these, you know, these voices which tell you that you can't make it, you know what, you don't have what it takes, you're not black, how can you make it here in the UK, you've got nothing. But tell you what, worst of all, if you have been in domestic violence situation. I'll just share a little bit about myself, why I said to Mamoyo, I'm coming no matter what. I'm one of the people, I came into the UK, I didn't come for financial gain. I had made it back home. I had made it. Before I came here, I will tell you that out of 101 problems, mine was never one of them. Yes, I was traveling, I had gone to Hawaii, I was going to America, everywhere, but I came for love. When I came for love, when I came to the UK, within 9 months, I was spouseless, I was visaless, I was spouseless, visaless, homeless, I was restless, everything. I had to rebuild my life. And I don't believe, bless you guys, who believe in working. I'm an entrepreneur, I've got entrepreneur running in my blood. I've been doing it for the past 18 years. I tried it, but I couldn't. But when you're coming from a domestic violence situation, you have lost yourself. You don't know whom to trust. You think everyone else knows that you've been divorced. You think everyone knows that you have failed to keep the marriage. And worst of all, you don't have the confidence to go out there and start talking about your business. My business that I do is one of those simplest businesses, network marketing, and I've been doing it for 30 years and it is paying me big time. But for you to be able to do that, as a peak performance coach, how I transited to be a peak performance coach was, I had so many people in the community coming through wanting to start these businesses, network marketing. But they sign up, get their first product, and they disappear. Why do they disappear? Is because somewhere that voice that I talked about start telling them, you know, people don't have money, you know? Do you know that? No one is going to buy your product. They talk to 1 or 2 people, and that one person tells them, no, I'm not interested. To them, it's like all the 7 billion people in the whole world are not interested. So on peak performance coaching, this is where, take it like a tool. You are, as a person, you're supposed to have a toolbox. Remember in the kitchen when you've got your toolbox, when the pipe bursts, you're supposed to just get out that spanner and tune it out. When you find that you've got that limiting self-belief is starting to kick in, you are able to say, no, 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 I have to stand up, I have to do this. Most of the people in business, they try the businesses, and you know business comes with marketing. Yeah. And maybe let me talk about these days, everyone has got a care agency. I mean care agency, people here who own these care agencies or who want to open their own care agency. Hey, everyone wants to do that. But most of the people, we just stay on wanting to do it. Why don't you do it? Is to say, I don't have the time. Right? You don't have the time. I don't have the time, I don't have the time to do the business, I don't have the time to learn. You know, all these excuses. But when we are talking about peak performance, this is when we are saying you are going to motivate yourself to take that action, no matter how hard it is. You say yourself, tell you what, action has to be taken. Because one thing which will determine your success is the action. Action or inaction will determine whether you're going to be successful. I could have thought about this, no matter how much I could have thought about this event, if I had not gone into the car, put the sat nav, drove, followed the instructions, I was not going to get here on time. So there is power in action. That's number one. But today I'm just going to share you one tool. At least in your toolbox, today you're going to have one tool on how to achieve your goals. Would you want that? That's tool. Well, just one.
Yeah, just one.
Just one.
Yeah.
So I'll teach you what we call a GROW method. GROW, G-R-O-W. Let's say you want your goal is to open a care agency. Yeah? Or you want your goal is to own land. Land. What are you going to do? That's your goal. The next thing that you have to do is look at the R. R stands for resources. You have to then look at what resources do I have? Do I even have the sabu? If I don't have, who else knows a sabu? If I don't know anyone, but where can I get someone who can know this sabu? Can you see? What do I need? I need to phone. Knowing and not phoning this sabu will not get you connected to the sabu. Are we together?
Yes.
So you need the phone. You need to know what you're going to say. You can phone. Most of the times we phone people, but without being prepared. Some people answer, yes, indeed, and what you start saying, no, hello, yeah, no, I wanted to know how you're doing. And at the end of the day, in your mind, you phoned who? Sabu. But in real life, did you phone Sabu? No. You didn't. Because you did not say out your message. So, understand on this result, what am I going to say? How am I going to say it? That's knowing the knowledge of what you're going to say. Because the results. Oh, you've got Google or whatever. On R, We have done that. But also, before you pick up the phone, we go to O. What is O? Obstacles. What are the possible obstacles that can stop me from getting this step? What do you think the obstacles will be?
Political affiliation.
Political affiliation, if you want, you can be ZANU, you can be CCS, anything. It's not that it can be. Yes. The only obstacle which is your inner self, the fear. You are going to sit there and say, no. He's not going to like me. He's not going to say, no, you can't be. I'm in the UK. You know, you stop yourself. Or just judging. You start judging people. No. You know, we've got all these reasons. Or procrastination. I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, no. I'll really definitely. Right now, you know, no. I went on Facebook and I saw my titty. Let me just let me watch my titty for a while. As soon as this live finishes, I'm going to call Sabu. By the time the live finishes, they take 4 hours, 5 hours, isn't it? When they finish, it's late. No, I'll phone tomorrow. So that's procrastination. Yeah. And then, when you have done that, those obstacles, you need to know what you are aware of will never control you. But what you are not aware of will what? Will control you. Being aware, the obstacles, the fears, write them down. Bila said it. Write all these things the way you're feeling down. But then, the most important thing is the way forward, which is the action. Whatever goal you're working on today, I want you to ask yourself to say, what am I going to do today? Today, not tomorrow. What am I going to do today that will move me closer to my goal? What are the 3 things that I'm going to do in the next 7 days that will bring me closer to my goal? And then where Seshina comes in is I'll hold you accountable. I'll ask you, what can I hold you accountable to when we meet up in 7 days? Guys, it was only 15 minutes. My 15 minutes of fame.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yes. Whatever you've taken is the growth that you are supposed to take away with you.
Yes.
And especially the way forward that she has talked about. That you should think of the way forward. From today, everyone in here has got a goal and they want to achieve something. But the way forward is where we need to think carefully about. So yeah, my latest tool is this now. If you see me, the time is up. Our next speaker is going to be Molly from Molly's Talk.
Stop dancing now. You can't just walk in. Thank you very much. How did you know I love this song when I was growing up? You just thank you so much. Thank you very much. I feel so honored. I really want to thank the board, you know, and everyone who has made this to happen, you know, of Power of the Mind. Thank you so much. For me, it's quite emotional because, you know, I used to be here in Northampton. Now we've moved. When we left Northampton, we went to Kent, and we moved from Kent. Now we're in Durham now. So you can imagine we've been like globe-trotting, and now it's about 4 hours coming here. So I'm really tired, but it's good to meet others. Yeah. Anyway, we all know that we're talking about domestic violence. Molly's talk talks about relationships.
if you have followed me on Facebook or you have heard my talk at some point or you don't know me, you can look for information on relationships. I talk about relationships. The only thing I talk about is just relationships. Professionally, yes, I'm a family practitioner. I work in the social services. But when it comes to community projects, as you heard, I have Hollis Talk. It's a fundraising project for my fostering agents, which I'm opening in Zimbabwe. As you know, issues of relationships, they only don't go wrong when things are good. Everyone wants to get married, everyone wants a wedding, but nobody has ever sat down to think about how do we manage conflict. So you can talk about domestic violence as much as you want, as much as you don't know how to resolve our differences in a relationship. Domestic violence is inevitable. You are going to fight. You are going to have strong emotions you don't know how to resolve. You are going to be strained because because of our differences in relationships, you are prone to fight. Even in our own families, I think you have experienced siblings rivalry. You have experienced the differences that comes with relationships. Relationships are not a problem, but how we manage conflicts is the problem. So I will not lie to you that domestic violence is a problem. It's how you manage your conflicts, how you manage your expectations, and how much you get in a relationship expecting that the other person should do everything, should make you happy, should do everything that you ever thought of. So I'm grateful that as a young woman, I'm able to talk before our elders, yeah. I know growing up, it has never been really acceptable for a young girl to talk about relationships. And I can say I've been privileged from Zimbabwe because I used to talk, I used to give, support to different churches. And I've done many couples sessions in Zimbabwe. At some point, I was advising one of directors of FAM for Zayoja. I was not a Zayojan, but they used to invite me to talk, at their headquarters. So I'm really privileged to be talking about relationships. Then I came to England, and I'm now, going towards my third local authority I'll be working for, where I also write reports which goes to the judges when I talk about relationships and how I'm helping families, to improve their relationships. So looking at the experience I have acquired in my life, from my own experience, I went through my first marriage which didn't work out well. I went through a divorce. My first husband told me he was going to England a day before going to England. So you don't tell me anything about relationships because I've been there. I've gone through a lot when it comes to relationships. So even when I was growing up, I was so eagerly, to know what relationships are all about. Because in most of the times we think we are in love, but most of the people, we are on an escape of poverty. Most people would die without even having to have been in real relationships in their own lives. Because the highest bidder is what you go for as a girl. Growing up as women, we all know that we're told to get married to a guy who can pay lobola. But there was some guy who didn't afford to pay lobola, but he truly loved you. But how many girls did give that guy a chance? I can tell you in my second marriage now, I married in that way. I gave an ear to a guy who didn't have money. Then I remarried to that guy. I've never known love in my life like how I met love in my life. I was a former model. I went for Miss Malaika Zimbabwe in 2002 representing Chitungwiza. And I used to do a lot of adverts on TV and in the newspaper. So for me, I know love from the material side of it. For me, I knew that you can only love a guy if he has got money. My point today, which I'm talking about, is how can we celebrate about Women's Day when we continue to let our children to fail them, to let them continue doing the relationship that did work for us? Until when are we going to stop? Right now, if your child starts dating a guy who doesn't have money, you are the first person to say, no, you can't date that guy. But you know the bruises that you carry. You know how unhappy you are, even in your own marriage. You know how many times you go through the pain. You go through all these things. But how many of you have ever told their children what you have gone through, even in your own dating life? Not many. So today my plea to you women who are here and fathers also is, how are you going to change the next generation? As for me, I realized Molly's talk where I talk about my relationship. I remarried, now we are in our 11th year and I am happily married. I know in our culture, most people, they don't talk about their relationships because they are scared that what if something happens? Whatever happens, one thing I know is I've been in love. I've known what love is all about because I remarried a guy who was in the rural areas who didn't have anything. I followed the guy to the rural areas. I'm talking of a guy who taught me how to put fire outside the house. A guy who taught me a lot of things when it comes to rural lifestyle. And I'm still married to him. Today he came with me, but I had to leave him in the room because he's tired. But to be honest, I'm so proud to say I believe in love. But if we continue to leave our children getting in wrong relationships for wrong reasons, we'll continue talking about this topic you're talking about of domestic violence. Because domestic violence is how we are not prepared on conflict, how we are not prepared on our differences, on how we are not prepared on having a real expectations on life, sometimes which someone cannot provide you. So how can we do this? We have to teach our children to go out there and find their own life. A good relationship, what happens is you have to find yourself. You can never give anyone you who you don't even know. You can never expect a good relationship when you don't know who's good for you. When you don't know yourself, how can you expect someone to know you more than the way you know yourself? How can you give someone a burden to love you because you don't love yourself? Most of the people who got married, they were running away from poverty. They were running away from everything you can think of. They were never going for love. I hope with this you continue to follow me on Facebook and hear more on relationships, because I do my Facebook Lives every Saturday at 4 p.m. UK time. And it has been growing. Sometimes I have 200 viewers at a go, so I can say it's growing and I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my sister Molly. I think the important thing is about how we are looking after our kids. What are we telling them about love? What are we changing? So we are talking about breaking the cycle. So that's what Molly was talking about, that we need to start when they are young. We need to actually talk to our kids about healthy relationships and how to find love, and different from what we are used to. Our next speaker is Kirsty.
Thank you so much for inviting me to come here. This evening, I should say, it was meant to be afternoon, but we are already into the night. My name is Kester Osuya, but me, Mudoti, I am, my husband is from Nigeria, and that's my son, Anthony Bear, who has decided to come to the Women's International Women's Day. I'm really surprised that he stayed after even watching all the females around here, so I just want to thank God for that. Yes, I'm here today to talk about some things that we normally neglect or that we take for granted when it comes to empowering women. I think we know the theme is, the theme of the day is we are here to voice change, isn't it? Thank you, voice change and break the cycle. And as parents, as being from ethnic minority background, I think we've got some issues. Yes, we are now adults, but how do we behave as adults in order to raise a future generation that will be a woman who is empowered? I can see all women here, you're seated here. Do you have teenagers in your homes?
Yes.
Yes. Where are your children today? They are going to be tomorrow's women, isn't it? Was it not okay to bring them along today so that they can be part of the women, so that they can hear some of the things that have been said so far by some people here? I think I heard some people talking about teaching our children about love, about relationships. Those things, if our teenagers hear those things, I think they will be empowered and they will become a better woman tomorrow. So my job today is to just, I'm not going to criticize your parental skills. I'm not here to tell you how to run your home. I'm just here to give some tips and to help, how can we help each other raise teenagers who will be able to be empowered women in the future. There are some things that are happening in our communities at the moment that we are sometimes ignorant about. And they need to be raised. Sometimes we think we are doing the best. Like a speaker said earlier on, we come in here to England, we came to work. I appreciate you, my sister, you didn't come to work. I really, really big you. But when I left Zimbabwe, that was 1999, I came here to work. I came here looking for greener pastures. And then we came, I was young when I came anyway. I still had my son was only 1.5 years. I left him in Zimbabwe and I came over here. And I was looking for money. I was looking for some way to change myself. Imagine if I come here with him, I leave him at home with who? So we want to empower our girl children. And we as parents, I think we are lacking in what we do because we are chasing shifts. We are working and working and working and working, and we are neglecting the needs of our children, especially our girl child is the most important person that we should value in life, especially when you're in England. I can give you an example. We work shifts. You come from a night shift, you go and sleep. You're not spending time with the children, they're on their own, you just take them and then leave them with the teachers. You don't know what they're learning there. So the environment is in the school. You don't know what your children are being taught. You don't know by whose friends are they going to. And you want to book another extra shifts, you send your children for sleepovers. Yeah? You send a girl child, oh, my friend is inviting me to, you do not know the family of that person, where your child is going. You do not know what is going on there. Who is he? Is it a sleepover? You haven't even called the mother of that person. And sometimes they've got, sorry, I'm not being racist or anything, but cultural differences. Yeah? There are cultural differences. There are cultural expectations that we have when we are raising our children, but we don't have those kind of things. We don't form to say, okay, know the family first before you send your girl child for a sleepover. Because what has happened these days is some people are going there and the mother of that person is not there. Imagine she's going to someone else's house who goes to pubs. The mother of that person has actually found your daughter to be a company for their daughter whilst they are out in the pub. So they are going there. As soon as the mother leaves the house, the parents of that other child, they are having their own party as young people. And that's when things are happening. Drinks are spiked. Your child next time is abused. By who you don't know. They will not tell you. You start to monitor these changes in the house. Changes, emotional changes. You don't know what has happened overnight. So get the chance to know who your child is spending a sleepover with. Very important. Another thing is, we go to work. We've got siblings in the house. I've got my son Anthony. I've got my two daughters. You leave them in the house. I think you've heard about an incident that has happened. A brother impregnating another sister. You've heard about it. You don't control those things. You do not know what is going on. So I'm not saying our children are monsters,
but they do not have that education to teach them exactly what is going on, what is right, what is wrong. They are now seeking emotional attachment to their siblings because maybe they don't have any time. And at the same time, I just want to talk also, we have now come to, social media is another big issue that has affected our children. We are now, our TVs are now babysitting our children. For me to go to work and come and sleep in the morning when I come for a night shift, it's because I just want this child to watch TV. I have done it. Whoever has not done it, I don't know how you haven't, but you just, sometimes you do it without realizing. You're sitting on a sofa, you got your 3-year-old and they're watching cartoon, you doze off. By the time you wake up, it's 3 hours later, but this child has been manned by a TV. Is that appropriate? What are they watching there? We've got pop-ups that come up, or we give them the gadgets. Pop-ups come up, inappropriate stuff, and then they start watching those things. Who are we getting to babysit our children? That's very important. Social media has also gotten us into serious troubles. We do not know what this teenage child is going to be tomorrow. They are now befriended. Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram. They have caused a mayhem in the community. I work with children and families, and at the moment I'm just working with teenage girls, camps. What I'm hearing there, what I'm seeing there is traumatizing even for a professional. It's sad. And sometimes it actually comes from the home. You're not supervising our children enough. We buy them gadgets, there's no harm in doing that. But are we monitoring what they are accessing, what information they are accessing on their gadgets? Do we know what we need to do? You just say, okay, go a phone, and you see your child, the symptoms. They don't want to get down and have a meal with you. They want to stay in their bedrooms all the time. Come and spend time with family, nothing, because they are used. I want to sleep, wake me up when this like this. As parents, as women, but we are advocating each other of bettering ourselves to empowerment, equal rights, this and that, domestic abuse. That's where it comes from, because they don't have the skills they've learned from their mom on how to defend yourself, how to empower yourself, or how to do things for yourself. So those are the things that we need to be very extra careful about. What are our children accessing on social media, and how do we do that? We've got some things called parental controls on TV. There are some also features that you put security features. You got, what do you call it now, Alexa. They record things that your children, if you go back, what have you accessed? So you need to be able to know what your children, what are the children accessing online, but you need to be a present parent, be a present mom. Do not let your children be manned by anybody else. You are the mother, you brought them in the world, it's your job to take care of the children so that we have responsible moms tomorrow. I hope you agree with me on that. Yes. Thank you. Then next time, Auntie Mavis, when you're coming, I invite the moms to come with their teenagers here. It's very important. Bring their children here so that they can hear what is being, because I'm talking to you, but they should be hearing this as well. Because that will empower them. It will build their self-esteem to come here and hear, so I can do this, so I can do that. Yeah. So another thing as well, bullying in school is really vile at the moment, and it's causing our girl child to lose their self-esteem, their self-confidence when they are dealing with social issues. So those things need to be be on the lookout for them. Be able to talk to your child. Be able to ask, how was your school? How have you been? What is going on in school? Ask teachers, what are you doing with my, how is my child doing? Even some women here, you don't even go to parents' evening. There are times whereby I have not even attended parents' evening. And then you hear some person, they're not teaching my child very well. You are the first teacher of your child. You are the first teacher as a mom, as a dad in the house. So teach your children at home. Ask them homework. How many people do homework with their children? Very rare, because we are busy. Be under Satan's yoke. We are very busy. busy under Satan's yoke. We are busy. Let's have that moment that we talk to our children. How have you been? You saw that video that circulated in Surrey. Is it Surrey or Sussex?
Yeah.
Whereby a child was beaten and how long has that been going on for? And it took only that child, that video to be taken for other parents now to come in and say, even mine, even my own, even my own. But all this has been happening and people are silent about it. So we are seeing children who are coming to schools who are becoming a menace in the house just because of the bullying that is happening in school. Something that we could have identified in the first instance and deal with. See the teachers, know what your children are doing, and watch out. And when they are being bullied in school, we have mental health. Now they start to say your child has got personality disorder, your child has got a post-traumatic stress disorder because they moved to Zimbabwe or from Ghana or from where, because they've changed environments. Or the child knows they've got identity crisis. No, sometimes it starts with us as women. We need to empower our children. We need to empower ourselves. As much as we want to empower ourselves, we need to apply those to our children because they are going to be the next generation that we want to be today. So I'm just saying mental health is key as well. Watch out on those. Watch out on those signs. Watch out on what your child is doing. Some people will be depressed. Some people have problems. Like I want to give you an example of what happens to a very close person I know regarding a sleep or visiting families. Yeah. So what has happened is a certain lady came. It doesn't matter whether it's a pastor or the person is a president. Your girl child will remain your girl child. Okay. Do not trust too much. So what has happened, this person came to this other family and said, oh, can your daughter come to I'm having a girls retreat or something like that. Oh yeah, don't worry, they will be well looked after, don't worry. The children went for this retreat, but not knowing, not everybody loves you. Some other people see your children progressing and they want to be a hindrance, especially in African communities. It's very vital, it's prevalent. That some people are just jealous, envious about your progress or your children are doing. So this child went and nobody knew what was happening. Nobody knew what had happened. A week after, it was for a week break, they went home. They said, oh, what has happened here? And she said, oh, I'm not going back to that house again. What has happened? She didn't want to say. What has happened? She didn't want to say. And then what happened? The next thing, she told her sister that, well, the son of that woman, where she went to spend time, had done something to her. Then the mother now wanted to ask this other person, what has happened? Do you know it created a mountain like this? And a wider river to cross. You understand? So that story, I can tell you that because I know where, I'll tell you at the end. So you try to address this. So what happened? You told me that you're going to look after my daughter. How did your son end up, doing this? No, you think my son is an animal. You think my son is a thing. There are other girls who spend their time in this house. Nobody has ever complained about how many other girls have been abused under your roof and you were allowing it to happen. Maybe it took that child to raise the awareness that something was not right in your home. So as we speak, that person I know is raising a grandson from a 16-year-old who was abused on a night out from somebody who was family you trusted the most. And that was the case, that was the end. The emotional well-being, the physical well-being, everything of that place is destroyed. But what happened to this family is something that I admire. They said, okay, this has happened and we know. They took the child, they accepted it, but what they need to do, they advocated the daughter to go back to school. She's now in uni, the grandparents look after the child, and the child is a blessing to the family. So those are the things that you can do, but in our culture, those things are very rare. You take the child, you dump them at their in-laws, that child is traumatized forever, and then there are scars that will be very terrible to you, and they will not know what is love. But from this, you nurture them, you counsel them, you talk to them. Be there as a mom, be there as a grandmom, be there as a father, be there as a sister. Look out for your youngsters so that they become better women tomorrow. That is my talk today. Let's be better moms. Let's be better moms. Let's talk to our children. Know your children. How do we do that? I almost lost that. I almost missed that. How do we know our children? Do you talk to them? You know, sometimes some children think I'm crazy. You know, there is a YouTube on where the action 15. And we just say sometimes, not to say anything, no. There are so many things. We just go out for a bed and breakfast. I go on Groupon or a voucher and got those cheap deals. Yeah, one night is 21 pounds. Yeah, for a room sharing. Buy that. Just spend some time with your daughter, only your daughters. Just go, swim together, do some stuff, go for walks and everything else. That will build them. And you know, let's not keep working, because we will die of working. So please, take time. Give time to your children.
Thank you so much. So I don't know, do we have a break? Do you want a break, guys, or we can go straight to our next person? Yeah, that's the thing, because I'm in it myself as well, so I don't want it to, the momentum to go. Yeah, so this has been a challenge, guys. I really like what Casey said. In our community, we are having this thing of us just going, leaving our kids behind, leaving our husbands behind. There's this Nigerian friend of mine who challenged me and said, you know, you Zimbabweans, what you do. When you have your events, you have events that are for women, you have events for men, you have this for what? We go as a family. The men, the women, the kids, everyone. If it's a wedding, everyone goes there. If it's International Women's Day, men come to support the women. Because the message we are talking about is not for women. No change comes if we just preach to the women. The message has impact if the men also hear this message. That's how it's important, Casey. You've raised an important issue. We're talking about raising girl children. We're talking about breaking the cycle. Let's break that cycle of leaving our youngsters at home. We want to pass on our culture to them. How do we do it? When we leave them all the time at home. Please bring your girl children. Our next speaker is Noni.
So, before we start, I'm just going to introduce myself. I am Noni, as you can call me, and I'm a mom of two, a wife of one, thank God, and I live in Ravensstoke in Hampshire. But before that, before the title of mom, wife, anything, I am me. And the one thing I want to share today is 7 years ago, when I had my first child,
and I had recently gotten married and forgot me. And how many of us here have had life transitions and forgotten you? And in the moment of forgetting who you are, everything else suddenly doesn't work. You get depressed, you are not happy with who you are, you lose weight, everything is suddenly like, whoa, what's happening? And that's what happened to me 7 years ago. I had just gotten married, like I said, had my baby. Before that, I was like, right, I'm ready to be a wife, I'm ready to be a mom. It's my life purpose. I saw my grandmom, raised us, my mom, everyone. I was ready. And then I realized, hold up. But if I am all of this to all these people, who is looking after me? Who is filling my cup? Because if no one else is filling your cup, you are just emptying your cup like this and giving it to everyone else, but no one is filling yours. And that is where I stopped. I literally stopped. I lost weight. I stopped eating. I just lost everything. And my husband was like, what's wrong with you? Like, I'm fine, because we're taught we have to be strong black women. You can't show weakness. Yeah? You have to, I'm fine. Carry on moving with my cross at the back. But at the end of the day, you go to bed, you're crying yourself to sleep. You're thinking, I'm so tired. Why are you tired? Because I have to be a mom, I have to do this, I have to do that. But you don't have to, because you have to refill your cup. If you refill your cup, you can then serve others from an overflowing cup. Your cup is always overflowing because you are taking time to say, hold up, I need me time. And it's okay. I think most of us here, they mentioned before that you're in the healthcare industry, one way or social or healthcare industry. I chose not to go there because I can't stand blood. So I am a certified and trained life coach, and I am the founder of the Honey Favored Woman community, where I help empower women who have forgotten who they are through either a life-changing moment, divorce, losing a loved one, being a mom or being a wife, and trying to fill everyone's expectation of you that you forget that before there was all of this, there was you. And so I empower women to remember who they are. So that when you step out into a room, and step out of a room and into somewhere, they know you. They see you before they see what you do. They see who you are before they see who you serve. As mothers, as wives, as sisters, if you are not okay, your home is not okay. If you are not okay, your home, let that sink in. If you're not okay, your home is not okay. You wake up, you get yourself ready, you get your kids ready, you get the house ready, everything ready, you go to work, you are somebody's employee. But is that person saying, are you okay today? Did you wake up okay today? What happened to you emotionally? There's a lot of baggage that we carry from when we were growing up. And we bring it here. And then we all have children, girl children or boy children. In this day and age, if your child is African in this country, they are great, whether boy or girl. And I know we're celebrating International Women's Day, but we also need to look at our boy children that we are raising. Are we raising them with the right things, with the right knowledge of saying, which means you don't touch a woman, one, which means you look after her. She is the jewel of the home. And by being the jewel of the home, us as mothers, our responsibility is to show our girl children, show our friends, our sisters, even our moms. My mom is still in Zimbabwe, thank God. But when I talk to her and I speak to her, I can see the hurt in her. I can see the generational trauma that she's carried all these years and still lives with it. And every time I talk to her, I'm like, Mom, let's try this, let's do this. Go talk to somebody. It's like, whoo, people will know my problems. Oh my God, I can't do that. And I have two young sisters who are still in Zimbabwe, and I see them growing up. And I'm like, okay, you guys are slowly becoming like Mom. But the key today is how do we break that generational trauma? How do we become the best version of women that we desire to be? And so part of my role as a woman's motivator, I don't want to call myself a life coach, I try to call myself a woman's motivator, is to get you to dream big. Get you to really think about what does Noni want? At the end of the day, when the world is quiet, everyone is sleeping, what does Loni want? What does fulfills her? If she's to wake up today and she's told today's the last day on earth, how is she going to celebrate that day? How is she going to celebrate her life? Because she's not going to go to the grave with her kids and her husband. She's going to go there by herself. Is she going to be happy? Is she going to happiness is a momentary thing, but you strive for joy. Because joy, you take that everywhere. Joy resonates and radiates within you. So one of the things that the tools that I empower women with, and I want to leave this with you, is the simple vision board. Right? How many of us have heard about a vision board? Yeah? So a vision board is a tool where you can put all your big dreams, the little dreams that you had when you were a little child, put them on there. It doesn't matter how big they are, how unattainable they might seem. Remember, they're unattainable yet. It doesn't mean that they cannot be attained. So dream big. Put those things on it. Just get a piece of paper, a manila card, A3 card. Sit down. If you've got children, it's a nice exercise actually. It's a bonding exercise actually. Get your kids, get some magazines, get some glue, get some highlighters, colors, everything. Sit down, put some nice music, write down your goals. Write them down. Ask yourself, ask your children, what do you want to be? You know, at the end of the day, who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? By activating that part of your brain, that creative part of your brain, you are telling yourself, a no is not a no anymore. It is not an impossible, but it's now a possibility. And by you then having those goals on your vision board, that's tool number one. Now you have to think, okay, how do I bring this to reality? I think Cecilia mentioned it before that you go to someone else and tell you, oh, I went to Maldives, I didn't like it. And it's on your vision board. And you're like, okay, so maybe let me look for someone else to go. But that was her experience, not your experience. So you need to ask yourself, from these goals that I have here on my vision board, if you don't want to create one, write it down on your phone. We all have notes on our phone. Write down top 3 things you want to achieve in 2023. That's my challenge to you. Top 3 things you want to attain this year. Let's not go crazy and say 10, 20. Just 3. Yeah, for me, today, I'm living one of my vision board goals, which was every 3 months, I take a night away from my family and my kids, and I look after me. I drove 2.5 hours. I was scared, petrified. It's my first time driving away without my family. I'm like, eee! The whole 2 hours I was being pep talked by Mr. Leonard. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Fine. And I came here. I booked myself into a hotel. Tomorrow I'm going to have a spa day. That's my Mother's Day gift to me. I see them every day. I love them to bits. We do homework. But I said, if you want me to be well enough for you, mentally, physically, emotionally, those are 3 of the 7 key areas of your life as a highly favored woman. That's my community that you attain to be. Look at the 7 key areas of your life. As you build your vision board, take those 7 key areas. One area, financially, what do you want to be this year? Debt free. Write it down. That goal, break them down. What does debt free mean to you? Does it mean I pay off all my debts? Or does it mean I pay off that one debt? Is my goal to be mentally healthy? Fine. What does it mean for you to be mentally healthy? Does it mean taking a break because you're on the go 24/7? Take a break. This, right now we're here as women, that's a break. For you, from your daily routine. You're not thinking about what to cook for dinner. You're not thinking about tomorrow. You're thinking about the now. Build your vision board. Write down your why. Why do you desire those things? Why do I want that holiday? Why do I want that night away for myself? Why do I want to be debt-free? What does it mean for me to be debt-free? Not for anyone else, because everyone has an opinion like a belly button, right? But what does it mean for you? When you look at yourself in the mirror, when you go to bed at the end of the night, you're like, wow, I did this for me. I am happy. I am content. After you've done that, broken it down. Now you need to do the what. Because you've dreamt about it, you know why it's important, but now it's time for you to do action. And that's when the fear creeps in. But you have to push past the fear. And the only way for you to push past the fear is to have simple strategies, 1 foot at a time. And that foot may start with, okay, I want to be debt free. What goals, what debts do I have? List them down. Okay, what action do I need to do? Let me increase that direct debit. If I'm paying £25, let me pay £50. You're already £25 more ahead than you were the day before yesterday. So simple steps that don't overwhelm you, because you are carrying a lot, you're doing a lot. So whatever you do, whatever goals you have, for you to be the woman who is purpose-driven and lives a purpose-driven life, is to fill your cup. Fill your cup. Dream big. Let's not just dream big for our kids, but also for ourselves. Because they see us. They get inspired by us. When they see you going for things that the world is saying they're unattainable, but they see mom doing it, they're like, okay, if my mom can do it, then I can do it too. I hope you have been inspired, and I hope you've been helped. And lastly, the one thing I want to leave you with is the power of prayer. There is nothing that you can do and not succeed if you do not pray. Pray for it. Ask God to bless you. He says, write the vision down and make it plain so that others can run with it. So don't be scared of the vision. Write it down, make it plain. Go to him and say, you gave me that vision. So give me the tools to bring it to life. Thank you.